This week we're going to address the second most popular question I've received lately, right behind, so what about the election? And that question is, should I consider cashing everything out and staying in cash for a while with what's on the horizon with, you can fill in the blank, folks, what's causing you anxiety. It could be the election or COVID, the second wave of COVID, Trump, Biden, China, unemployment, no football for you Big Ten and Pac-12 fans. Sorry about your luck. Masks. Yeah, that should just about cover all of the things that cause your blood pressure to spike here and there. But before I go on, I want to preference this video by saying that my comments today are general observations and aren't specific advice for your accounts or your investments. I'm just talking about the markets in general. Two of my favorite quotes regarding money and investing have kept running through my head lately, and I wanted to share them with you here. The first is from Peter Lynch way back in the 1990s, and it says, far more money has been lost by investors preparing for corrections or trying to anticipate corrections, sound familiar, than has been lost in corrections themselves. And I think it's appropriate to talk about this quote now in light of the above list that we just went through of anxiety-producing news items. The reality is that there will always be something to worry about. Now, as a professional investor for the last 2 decades plus, I believe the absolute number one mistake that I see investors just making is focusing on the macro problems of the whole world instead of the true opportunities that may exist in the companies within their investment portfolios, right in front of them. For example, many people today are worried about the pandemic instead of focusing on what changes the pandemic is creating and what potential opportunities are created because of those changes. And that's actually what I do for a living. I look for patterns, I look for changes, whether in consumer behavior, workforce, travel and leisure, or healthcare. There are always patterns and changes occurring. And in the margins is where the opportunities are. I'm always looking for the best ways to allocate a portfolio, not only for retirement income, but so that you could actually create lasting wealth that grows and grows and grows for future generations of your family. We just celebrated 15 years here with Family Financial Partners this month. And one change that I noticed this year is that we all forget our anniversary. It slipped my business partner Alex Roig's mind and mine as well. And we completely forgot to congratulate each other. I can finally understand how after a number of years, you literally can forget your anniversary. I wouldn't recommend it in a marriage though. The other quote I want to share with you has actually been featured on our website all the way back to 2005 and through many redesigns and upgrades of that website. And the quote goes, I am more concerned with the return on my money. I am more concerned with the return of my money than the return on my money, said the ever quotable Will Rogers. And at the end of the day, every client family that works with us and entrusts us with their financial future. And as much as we want to make your accounts grow, it's just as important to take action to protect your principal. And although I reserve the right to change my opinion in a heartbeat, I do believe that throughout my entire career, the one adage that I always have worked with is do not fight the Fed. Now there's a lot of concerns out there, but when the Fed has the markets back, things tend to work out. So maybe I could, make a name for myself by calling the top of the market today or patting those on the back who say, let's go to cash and wait for a crash together. But I'm doing the tougher thing and actually waiting for the market to work its magic. And as long as the Federal Reserve is actively supporting the financial markets, and it is, you're not going to see me become Chicken Little and cry that the sky is falling. Now, don't take that to mean that the markets will only go up. That's crazy too. Markets gyrate. And regardless of a pandemic, a correction of more than 5% or one of more than 10% is typical each and every year. So I think it's safe to say that the 10% correction in the first quarter of the year, we probably had that already. But with a quarter and a half to go in 2020, could we have another correction? Well, sure. See, the team at Family Financial Partners have been actively checking your portfolios. And if your portfolios could be affected by volatility in the next 18 months, we've tried to reach out to you and discuss. And if you've been on vacation at the beach or somewhere and received a voicemail or an email from us, might I advise you to just give us a ring? It could be important. If you haven't gotten a call or had your quarterly update meeting recently, we believe you don't need to be overly worried about market volatility and will be okay based on the calculations that we've done of your withdrawals and cash needs. Now, some of you only have traditional brokerage accounts and do not have actively managed investment accounts with us. And if you don't have an investment account, you can stop listening to this. But, on the other hand, if you think, what is InvestNet? Maybe that sounds cool. Just listen in and call us if you have any questions. So within InvestNet, every position that we actively manage in that portfolio is monitored internally to identify stop losses for these positions. And we have ongoing internal dialogue within our investment team here at Family Financial Partners whenever one of the companies that we've invested in isn't performing how we'd like it to be. And as we review these on a daily, real-time basis, which we do, I get alerts on my watch. We make decisions to exit, add, or trim the positions when needed. And just like a gardener looking at a flower bed and with the anticipation that, hey, a storm is coming, I'm not sure how bad the storm will be, but if we feel that there's more risk than reward, we'll do some pruning. And the gardener might trim the beautiful mature daffodils and roses and make a centerpiece that the whole family can enjoy rather than risking a yard full of destroyed petals the next day. Well, as you see, we apply the exact same concept with your portfolio. There's always a sunrise and a sunset, and in between, there's always something to worry about. My point is that this is a daily, even hourly conversation that we are having with ourselves in our heads. You've hired us to do this for you, and if you ever see changes if we ever see any kind of change that could affect your portfolio in the long term, we're going to do everything we can to address them. Thank you for entrusting us with your hard-earned assets, and please let us know how we can help you, your friends, family members with their financial needs.